Hey there everyone, it's me, Elmoviemaster. I'm hoping you guys are having a great day. I'm having a great day myself. Today I'm going to be discussing Jurassic World Dominion, and this particular rant, because it's going to be a rant, there's no way I can't keep my emotions for this movie. It's going to have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie first, make your own decisions and opinions as to whether you like the movie or not, and then come back and hear how much I hated this movie. The final entry, it's not a final entry. They're going to be making so many more of these movies. This is a cash-making machine. It's like the Fast and Furious franchise at this point, which is also made by Universal. It doesn't matter how many they make, how dumb they are, people flock out to see them, unfortunately. And I fell for it. I really did. I had low expectations for the movie. I only went out to see it because of Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, the legacy characters. I love the first three movies. The first three movies I really like. They're part of my childhood, especially the original one. The original one is still the best one. So I said, you know what? Let's go see this movie. And what we got is one of the dumbest movies ever. So this movie, like I said in the non-spoiler review, it takes place 4 years after the last movie, Fallen Kingdom. And that one was pretty bad, but I could laugh at how bad it was. This one, I was just bored to death. I was bored to death because it's like 14 stories in one. And none of those 14 particular subplots and stories never come to anything interesting. I thought they were going to actually talk about how humanity is going to coexist with dinosaurs. And they partially talk about that from the first 8 minutes, maybe even less than that. They show you like news clips and reels of people coexisting with dinosaurs. They show you that there's a black market, which in itself I thought, hey, this could be a really cool idea. But they don't really stick to that. They delve into other things. One of the plots involves locusts. I thought, like, am I watching Exorcist 2? Like, who gives a crap about locusts? Show me the dinosaurs, but do it in an interesting way. They show you some dinosaur fights, which, okay. But they don't really get into the... It's not like the first movie. The first movie had a real plot. It was actually about what would happen if we brought dinosaurs back to life. What would be the dangers, the moral implications. This movie just throws the dinosaurs at you, and yes, there's animatronic effects, which I did like. That was pretty cool. But this is kind of like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Let's just show a bunch of random effects, random, dinosaurs, but for no real reason other than to have them fight each other. The plot really involves the Locust. You have Dodson has his own facility called Biosyn, which is the rival to InGen, and they want to use Locusts to do something with the crops. Locusts destroy everyone else's crops. They would need Biosyn to survive. But how would that even make sense once the world is completely destroyed by dinosaurs and all this stuff? Whatever. I thought too much of the plot. And then you also have the story of the little girl who is the clone. She's now being taken care of by Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. There's a particular scene where she gets kidnapped, and the way she gets kidnapped is so dumb. There's a scene where she's talking to Bryce Dallas Howard, who is now her foster mom, and she's being, a little rebel. She's saying, "You're not my mom. I can do whatever I want." And she escapes. She goes out on her own. And right before that scene, she's almost eaten by a dinosaur. Chris Pratt comes in and does this little thing with his hand, which at this point is getting really dumb. We're talking about that. He puts his hand like this, and, he tells the dinosaur, I'm not sure if it's blue or whatever, and, as he finds out that they've stolen her baby, "Don't worry, I'm gonna get your baby back." And he tells the little girl, the clone, to go back into the house. And she briefly goes back into the house just so she can say something snarky to Bryce Dallas Howard that she's not her mom, and she escapes and gets kidnapped. So now they have to go on an adventure to rescue their little girl. And there's some scenes that are like something out of Mission Impossible, where they're around Europe, and you have dinosaurs. And here's another thing. People in this movie survive things that normal people wouldn't survive. It's like Fast and Furious or a Marvel movie at this point. There's a sequence where they're on a plane, and it crashes on ice. And my thought was, no one would survive. At least show a scratch or something, or a broken bone. Nope. They're perfectly fine. There's one character in this movie, the actress is DeWanda Weiss. I forgot the character's name, but I thought she was one of the best characters in the movie. But unfortunately, they make her character so poorly written. She's only there to service the OG characters and the new characters, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, to get them from point A to point B. And there's another character, I forget his name. The actor's name is Mamadou Ati. He is also there just to help the OG characters. It's kind of like a video game where you meet someone who's supposed to give you an artifact. That's what they felt like. But they were the most interesting. Other people are just there, just moving around, looking up at dinosaurs and running around. At least these two characters, as poorly written as they were, actually were active, proactive, doing something. Lines that they gave Jeff Goldblum, it felt like a parody. The way that he talks with the thumper. And at this point, it's just a parody. It seems exaggerated. And just the way they brought back Dr. Alan Grant, like, why is he even there? In Jurassic Part 3, if you watch Part 3, Tia Leone and William H. Macy had to come up with a lie, their characters had to come up with a lie of, like, we have a lot of money, we'll pay you to come to Isla Sorna, or Isla Nublar, or I forgot which two islands they were. And, okay, they found a way to get him into the island. Because he really did not want to go back. He says, what InGen did, what John Hammond and InGen did on, those islands was just create genetically modified monsters. Nothing more, nothing less. And now in this movie, he's like, okay, let me just go for the ride, who cares? Feels like they're going through the motions. A lot of the scenes between Laura Dern, Dr. Alan Grant, everyone wanted them to be an item. The scenes between them felt like something out of a fan fiction. It felt like one of those little novellas. Like, oh, look at them, they're so great together. Last act of the movie is just a bunch of dinosaurs fighting, bridge falling, people just, running, and just so much going on. And none of it has heart. At least even in the final act of, there was some tension, they were also running away, but you also had the whole story of the girl trying to close the door, there was tension, in this movie, there's never a sense that these characters are in real danger. There's only one scene, and you see it in the trailer, where Chris Pratt is riding the motorcycle, and this velociraptor jumps on top of him. I thought, like, oh shit, they're gonna kill off Chris Pratt's character. They're gonna do it. And no. They don't. There's never any real danger. It all feels very blah. The other thing I didn't like was the character of Dotson. I found him very boring. The way he delivered the lines had no emotion. Did they only do one or two takes? Because even the scenes where he's mad, it's like, oh, darn it. Well, he doesn't say darn it, but he just comes off like, okay, that's an inconvenience. And I don't think they originally had the idea of bringing these characters back, because they could have done so in the other movies. When you watch the first Jurassic World, which in itself was an okay movie, I always thought the idea of opening the park back up again wouldn't work. But even with the plot holes and a lot of dumb stuff, and Bryce Dallas Howard running with those heels was dumb, at least you had some fun with that movie. At least there's some tension, and even the scenes that didn't have tension, you could laugh at how silly it was. In this movie, I'm not laughing, I'm just waiting for it to end, because a scene ends, and then you have a character just spilling out a bunch of exposition, explaining things to you, and the things that they're explaining to you, it doesn't sound like a normal person talking. There's a sequence with Dr. Henry Wu, B.D. Wong. He's explaining something about what he's doing there, and I was trying so hard to pay attention. I'm like, why are you even here? And his character felt like, the way he looked, it looked so depressing, like he's just, forgive me, I've been the villain all along, which I never saw his character as a villain. He was just someone of circumstance who ended up working for a company, that wants to bring back dinosaurs. And he appears in one scene, and then he disappears for a large chunk of the movie, and then when he comes back, I was like, oh shit, I forgot you were still here. Okay, but they don't explain much about him. He's just there. And there's the same thing with Jeff Goldblum. He's there kind of like as a consultant to Dotson and the Biosyn company, but I'm still wondering, like, why is he really there? If you listen to what he was saying in the last movie, in that court, it seems like he just doesn't want anything to do with the dinosaurs, especially when you watch The Lost World. I remember in that movie, the whole idea was, there's no way you're going to get me into one of these islands or into one of these parks, just like Dr. Grant. And he also comes back. It's only because the script requires him to, because people love, the OG cast, and I'm no exception. And the way they dress him, at least in The Lost World, they took off the glasses and they, dressed him up a little bit different, but here, it's almost like he's cosplaying Dr. Ian Malcolm. and he's exaggerating. Like I said, he's exaggerating the life finds a way. He even has a speech where he's telling all the employees, you're being used for this reason. Yes, 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 yes. Oh boy. At the end of the movie, Dr. Grant, they even try to do like an Indiana Jones moment where he loses his hat. He's like, oh, forget the hat. I thought that part was kind of funny. You know, this is one movie that it made me once again lose hope in big budget movies. You know, big budget movies are just cash making machines. It's a business, you know, and I understand that. But at least try. At least make something that's worthwhile. Like, I've realized that we're never going to get another Jaws. We're never going to get an original Jurassic Park. Even if you do another adaptation from a book or a remake, make it interesting. You know, make it worthwhile. You know, movie tickets aren't cheap nowadays. Everything's getting expensive, you know, especially with gas prices. So, you know, you're spending money on gas, you're spending money to, you know, get some snacks and watch a movie, and then what you get is just the equivalent of fast food. I remember Jurassic Park 3 being really stupid, but this movie was what, 90-something minutes? Yeah, 93 minutes. 93 minutes. Even the original was, yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours and 7 minutes. That's fine. But almost 2 hours and 30 minutes? Like, why? And if you are going to make something like a B movie, like a monster movie, like a Sci-Fi Channel Sharknado style kind of movie, don't take yourself so seriously. The third movie has a lot of stupid moments. But you can tell it knows what it is. It knows it's a B movie. Even part 2, that sequence in California where the dinosaur is roaming, they're having fun with it. Remember that scene where he picks up the doghouse or he eats a character who's trying to get into a blockbuster? They're having fun with it. This movie doesn't. This movie is like, yeah, this is real. How would humans survive with the dinosaur, with dinosaurs around? If you're gonna do that, back it up. The original movie, it wasn't so much about the dinosaur attacks, it was about the morality of bringing back dinosaurs to life. You know, that whole sequence, which has become a meme of itself, of, you know, life finds a way, you know, that scene, he's explaining that, you know, this is going to become a theme park ride, and a dangerous one. Funny that this franchise in itself has become kind of like a theme park ride. This movie, in Rotten Tomatoes, it had an 88% score, and I think now it sits at 38%. That's a big decline. But I know there's a lot of people who love it. And hear me out. If you love the movie, if you liked it, if you've seen it, hey, that's fine. You know, I'm not trying to tell people what they should or shouldn't like. You know, I understand. I'm just saying that for me, it didn't work. It didn't work. I think they rushed this movie. For a movie that they had many years to prepare, they did something really poor. You know, they could have done something so much better, you know, if they were aiming for a conclusion, because that's what the poster says, the epic conclusion, and it doesn't feel like it. Maybe because they want to make more and test the waters, but, you know, don't lie to the audience. Don't lie to the audience. If you're going to do a conclusion and then reboot it in 3 or 4 years, how you do with every franchise, but give people the right closure. This just felt like, what do we do now? That's right, we got to bring back Dr. Grant and Dr. Ellie Sadler, and, you know, what do we do with them? We'll figure it out. That's what the movie felt like. So, and it's, again, it was boring. Like, I love action as much as the next person. I actually love action-adventure movies. But when there isn't any real stakes involved, when everything feels by the numbers, I just snooze off. And had I watched this movie at home, had I watched it for free at home, I probably would not have finished the movie. I would have probably fallen asleep. Turn it off and maybe come back to it in a couple of days and maybe finish it. But in theaters it's different. You know, you're with people and you have to pay attention, and, you know, I actually felt like just leaving and saying, you know, F it. But I knew I had to review it here on YouTube. So, yeah. Though, as bad as it is, it's not the worst movie. So far, I still think the worst movie of this year is Firestarter. And I have to review it. It's going to be coming up real soon. It was really, really bad. And that one I didn't see in theaters. That one was on Peacock. They should have released this movie on Peacock. Really, they shouldn't have put this in theaters, but I know they spent like a bunch of money on it. So, anyway, guys, those are my spoiler thoughts on the movie. You know, it's the movie's almost kind of like, maybe on purpose, it's almost like disappearing from my mind. But there's other things that I was thinking about that was, you know, that I was angry about. Oh, there's also a fight. You know, like, it almost reminded me of the scene I'm remembering in Jurassic Park 3 where little kids playing with dinosaurs. where Dr. Grant says, oh, those two dinosaurs probably wouldn't fight with each other. In this movie, there's a scene like that where there's like a T-Rex and this other bigger dinosaur fighting with each other, and then another dinosaur comes in. So it's like, hey, you know what's better than two dinosaurs fighting with each other? Three dinosaurs fighting with each other. Yeah! That's what it felt like. So, but anyway, I thought this movie was bad. I'm not going to talk more about it. But someone did request for me to rank these movies from worst to best, and I'll be doing that. So that should be coming up right after this video. So I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Stay safe, and let me know if you guys did watch this movie, and if you did, let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below. I'll be seeing you guys very soon.